So this is the second in series of 5 videos that are highlighting a trip that I took in the summer of 2023 when I spent 6 weeks in Europe. So I started in my native Slovakia, and from there I flew to Burgas, Bulgaria, and from there I went 1 hour south by car to a town called Lozenets. This is where my mom has been living for 2 years now in retirement. This was actually my first time back here since helping my mom move in, and I was really amazed with all the improvements that she made. The place looks so much better now. I was also looking forward to spending some time with my cats, so this is actually just one of them, the other one is not in the video. But these are cats that I acquired when I lived in California, then I lived for a little bit on the East Coast, and I lived in Prague, and then in Slovakia, and then finally retired in Bulgaria. So I think they had a pretty amazing life. They traveled more than some people do. Now my mom also somehow ended up acquiring or taking care of for this little street cat that started coming over to get some food.
Kitten.
So this cat is sort of indoor-outdoor. Now I spent most of the time here just relaxing, doing some reading, working on my second book. And being in Bulgaria this early in the season, this was like in mid-June, it's such a great time because all the facilities are open, but it is not yet crowded with tourists. And the water is actually very nice, so you can go swimming. It's quite warm, nothing like what we have in LA or the cold Pacific Ocean. The only kind of a thing to pay attention to, there are these little crustaceans that are kind of bite, so it was a little bit unexpected experience for me. I also went to check out some of the beach bars, and again, early in the season, super easy to get in and have a find a place to sit down. Later in the season, it does get more crowded. This is a new coffee shop. And you can see that Lozenets is a really beautiful place. It has these nice flowers. It's just kind of very tranquil. It's a very nice place for one's retirement. Now we also went to get some food. So this is a local specialty. So this fish has green bones. So I've never seen something like this anywhere else. Now, of course, I went for a run, so there's a little trail behind the apartment, and I took it all the way back to the beach where I was the day before, because I just looked at it from the opposite side. And then I made it to the part, I guess, on the southern end, where you have a lot of fancy villas. So one thing that's kind of interesting about Lozenets is that this seems to be the place where a lot of rich Bulgarians come to buy property, and there's a lot of new construction going on. These right here are some of the older properties. So this is an entire gated community, and you actually cannot get in. So you can only admire the wall and the beautiful roses they have outside. You can see also a lot of nice cars. Now, again, early in the season, not too many, but when I come back in a couple of weeks with Sandra, you will see there's basically no place to park. This is just the main part of Lozenets, so I'm just making my way back to the apartment. And also these townhouses are new. This wasn't here before. This was just an empty field. Now this brings me to this main reason why I actually traveled to Bulgaria. My mom and I were going on a cruise out of Istanbul. So next morning we took a cab to Burgas. And after figuring out the bus station, we went to get some breakfast. And then we hopped on the bus. The whole bus ride was quite uneventful. I guess the highlight for me was observing my fellow passenger who brought an entire picnic set. He had a cutting board and he was using his pocket knife to cut tomatoes and cheese to make sandwiches. Really the only, wrinkle was getting across the border. It literally took 2 hours to make these 200 meters because everybody's luggage had to be inspected. I also had to get a visa, so it's kind of a heads up to anybody traveling on a US passport. And from the bus station in Istanbul, we made our way to Karakoy by taxi. Then we checked into the Royal Tophane hotel, where we had this really nice room. You can see it's a duplex, we had a separate bedroom. The only kind of maybe downside is that it is right overlooking the busy nightlife street, so not a good place if you are looking for a quiet night of sleep. And there's outside you have a lot of restaurants. They pretty much all serve the same kind of Turkish food, but it's all delicious, so you just cannot go wrong. Like basically wherever you go, it's probably gonna be really good tasting. And then we did some more exploring. So this was the first time to Istanbul for both of us, so it was kind of exciting to see a new place. Now this is the next morning, and you can see how much more quiet the street is. And so next I went for a stroll. I wanted to figure out how to actually get to the Galataport from where we are going to board the cruise ship. Now there is an entrance close to the hotel, but I only found it on the way back. So I took this a longer way to get in. So Galataport is this whole kind of enclosed area. You have to pass through security to get inside. And you have all these kind of like nice restaurants and shops. Now, this barrier on my right is what actually prevents you from getting to the ships themselves. So when there's no ship in port, the barrier comes down. Now, one thing I was kind of expecting here was to see the cruise ship, because I didn't know that the ships basically run like a bus. So I thought they have to come the day before to get ready, but that is not at all how any of this works. So next I made my way back, and this time I found this little nice alleyway with some French-style restaurants, which basically led right back to the Royal Tophane hotel. So again, a very convenient location for anybody going on a cruise out of Istanbul. Next I had some breakfast, and then we left our luggage in the hotel and we went back to the port, and this time, lo and behold, our ship MSC Splendida was docked. You can see just how massive these things are, and this is not even a big ship, this is like a mid-sized cruise ship. Yes, we got some coffee and some cake. I like cakes, so you'll see a lot of cake footage in my videos. And then we did a little bit more exploring. You know, Istanbul is famous for its cats, so if you like cats, this is a nice place to visit. But just one thing to pay attention to, they can scratch, so be careful. Now, one thing that was interesting here was that we came here during the finals for the Champions League between Inter Milan and Manchester City, so there was a lot of soccer fans all over the place. And then we made our way up to the Galata Tower. This is actually a rather steep hill. Maybe it doesn't look so steep here, but it can be a little bit of a challenge to make your way up. There's a funicular you can take instead of walking. And then we encountered some more soccer fans. And then it was time to head back to the ship to check in and to begin our 9-night, 10-day adventure. So for that, please come back. I will have that video posted in the next couple of days.